from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Racecourse, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America. I'm Seth Merrow. As always, thanks for joining us. Again, we said it the first hour multiple times. Gorgeous day up here at Saratoga. The horses working behind us, had plenty of activity in front of us. And it all starts to calm down as training hours end at about 10 o'clock. But that just revs it up for the afternoon. And again, if you're thinking about coming up, by all means, do it. Nice day of racing ahead that will include the curling. We'll talk about that just in a couple of moments. We'll hit on that and some more in a few with Dave Grening. He's in the rotation for our regular Thursday visit from the Racing Forum. We'll do a little preview and review with Dave. A little bit later on, Wesley Cupp, who has one of our newer OTB easy bets. And if you're out kind of the western portion of our area, you can check that out. And as I said earlier, he has an interesting little highlight that to his career that we'll hit on, past his career, but we'll hit on that as well. I'll keep you in suspense there. But we're going to start things out. As I say, we'll talk a little curling because we have one of the part owners of Crudo with us. Jimmy Ventura owns Crudo in partnership with Bobby Flake. Jimmy, good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Very good. Happy to have you on board. Got introduced to you yesterday through Steve Bick, my Sunday morning co-host and a friend of yours, and he went through your bio information and whatnot, and it sounds like there is a lot of racing tied in. Take us through, how did you become a racing fan and how did you make your way to becoming an owner?
Racing fan was simple. It was going to the racetrack with my uncles and dad when I was 7. First bet I ever made, the horse paid $104, and that was pretty much done.
Well, I want you to expand on that a little bit because I was reading the story of the TDN where you said, oh man, this is great. Mom's going to be really excited.
Exactly. We were driving home, and it was one of those occasions that I didn't know that everybody won was not a normal thing. So I was telling my father, well, this is great. Mommy's going to be so excited. And the biggest and best lesson I probably learned on the racetrack was he's like, Jimmy, we broke even. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, if we won, Mommy's going to want the money. If we lose, she's going to give us grief. My mother passed away when she was 94.
Oh, wow. God
and
bless.
To the day that she died, Jimmy, how'd you do? Broke even. And she would go to me, I know that you're just joking. I'm like, yeah, but, it works. But that was pretty much it. Followed my passion with the horses. And I worked for Spendthrift and Three Chimneys as an intern. Had the bug, wanted to work on the racetrack. My brother Tommy at the time was running George Steinbrenner's horse operation for him in Ocala.
Oh, Kinsman.
Yeah. And now he's president of OBS.
Oh, nice.
So Tommy hooked me up with George Baker at the time, who was at Spendthrift Farm, started out there in Lexington, and then went to New Jersey, worked for Tony Badero. So walking hots. And the little funny story is I came to Tony's barn wearing the Kentucky khaki collared polo shirt, and I gave him a resume. And he's like, you're Italian, right? I said, yeah. He goes, does your mother know you're here? I said, yes. He's like, I'm going to do her a favor. And he ripped up the resume right in front of me. And he's like, go find something else to do. I said, well, Mr. Badero, I was told that you would be a great mentor, blah, blah, blah. He was like, okay, you could walk hots. So I started out walking hots and groomed and trained a few horses. So I've been through the whole lineage and I've owned horses for a long time.
Now involved in commercial real estate.
Correct.
So
Correct.
You're on the ownership side of things now. But I'm guessing probably that experience helps play into being on the ownership side of things.
Yeah, I mean, when I got into my allergies, actually prevented me from staying with the horses. Yeah. I was hospitalized the night that Ditto Burns, broker maiden by 17 at the Meadowlands, was a horse that I was involved with. And at the time, I was like, you got to break me out of here, because this horse, I knew she was going to win. It was a first-time starter. and Dave Johnson was calling the races at the Meadowlands, and I locked into his phone. So I'm all hooked up in this on the, where everybody's dying. That it's probably 80 plus at the time in this, respiratory ward up at the hospital. And I'm screaming like a lunatic, and the nurses come running in. They're like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "We just won, champagne for everybody." So, but yeah, so it's been quite a run. But I've had horses and partnerships from. Bought my first horse right before I went to college in 1980. So I've been a degenerate for a long time.
Very good. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little Crudo, and we'll go back and we'll watch the Sir Barton. This was a couple starts back down at Pimlico, Preakness weekend. Crudo's going to be a nice winner of the Sir Barton. You came back and tried the Belmont Stakes, and it didn't fare quite as well. But talk a little bit about this win. This was only start number 3. So clearly shown a lot of promise. Talk about this win, moving on to the Belmont, and then electing to try the Curlin this afternoon.
It was a great win, actually. I was supposed to be in Portugal that day, and Todd called an audible. We were going to run in an A other than up in at Aqueduct, and then he was like, "He's doing well. Let's run him there." So I canceled my trip, went to the race, and we've had.
You are a degenerate.
I was supposed to be at Lascolio at the Amalfi right now, but I'm here. But anyway, that race in Pimlico on Preakness Day was very important, and it was, we're stretching him out. He was, every time he worked on the farm or then at Palm Meadows with Todd, he just galloped out like a horse that wants to go long. And we had high expectations for him. He came up with a little injury in the first race, came back at Keeneland, aired. And in this race was going to be a big test. I think there was a horse I think Windstar owned, Invictus maybe. Yeah. That was 3-5 that day. And they pressed him the whole way. And then he kind of opened up. And to my surprise and Bobby's even, Todd said, "Let's go to the Belmont." And we Sunday morning he worked, Sunday afternoon he entered him. And we kind of gave him the keys to the car to do whatever he thought was best. We knew it was aggressive. I mean, this horse went from 6 to 7.5 furlongs to 1 mile and 16 to 1 1/4 miles 3 weeks later. And, but that race at Sir Barton, going from a sprint to a 2-turn route is not the easiest thing to do, and being pressed. So he showed a little bit of something. The Belmont were just tossing. I think Johnny didn't want to get caught up with Rodriguez in a speed duel, and then 1 1/4 miles. So now I think we're back to a distance that we should prefer. And maybe even the 1 1/4 miles should be fine, but it was a little bit too much too fast, and we understood
Start
that.
number 4.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we're hoping for, again, we're locked in with another Tiger today. Chad's horse run huge numbers, whether it's, Ragison or Thorograph or Bayer or whatever metrics you want to look at. But I like the Thorograph numbers a little better because his numbers show that he improved, and then he bounced a little bit in the Belmont, and then he should come forward. Again, he has to run the best race of his life to beat Chad's horse, but I think it should play out well.
You said you saw Todd this morning, so I assume you were at the barn in South Crudo. How's he doing?
He was doing great. We were there right as the vets were checking him, and he passed out with flying colors, which is always a good thing. And he's doing great. I mean, I've driven up every time he's worked. I'm true degenerate. I drove up.
I'm liking you better and better with this conversation.
I drove up the night before so I could watch him work. Matter of fact, for going into the Belmont, Todd said he was going to try to beat the rain one morning. I think it was a Saturday. I drove up here, and he couldn't work because it was torrential downpour. So I drove back, and then I woke up. I was with my girlfriends, and she goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Todd said he's going to work at 9 o'clock. I'm going." Drove back from northern New Jersey up here to watch the horse work. So I've seen every one of his breezes. He's a good workhorse. He gallops out strong. And we're excited.
And I'm looking, he's been working here on the main track, too.
Yeah, he's come here in the main track the last few works, and he's worked really well.
So, again, this is career start number 5, but the first 3 showed a lot of promise. And, again, the Belmont was a little bit of a challenge in the 4th start. He's going to be interesting this afternoon, no question about it. You own in partnership with Bobby Flay. How'd you become friends with Bobby, and how'd you get tied into the horse?
I've been friends with Bobby for a long time, and one of the great things with Bobby, I can't play at the $1 million level to buy horses. He does, and he can, and he's always said, Jimmy, whatever you want, you can take a piece of. So we were at the November sale. He was a weanling. He was the most expensive Justify weanling that was sold that year for $350 maybe.
Yeah, you got it.
And Tom McGreevy was shortlisting, and I was a huge Justify fan. I had a big bet on him to actually win the future Triple Crown and Derby, so I cashed big there. So Bobby's always leaned into me saying that you're just a Justify fan. But Bobby and I bought the horse. We tried to pinhook the horse to sell him up here, bought him back, and just kept him. So, but Bobby's great, and I spoke to him earlier today, and I mentioned to you earlier, Bobby Flay has never won a race at Saratoga while he's been here. He's not here today. I thanked him for not coming.
Oh, okay.
So we have a shot. That's what he goes, we're going to try to keep the streak alive.
Yeah, so he's never been in the winner's circle.
Not with one of his horses.
You told me that, and I thought, that's hard to believe.
Sure is.
Yeah. And you say you bought this horse as a weanling. That's interesting.
We bought it several weanlings. We were going to pinhook, and we bought a mare as well. And then this one we just did in pinhook. And, Bob,
what changed the equation there?
Well, once we got up here and we bought him back, he never grew. He's like a medium-sized, horse. So he's not small, but he's just not that big scopy thing that, Baffert would walk by and say, okay, $2 million for you. So that was one of the things. Then we put him in training at a 2-year-old sale. And he came up with some baby issues. So we gave him some time. And we always liked them, so we gave him a shot to race them. Yeah, good I always say everything that we own, I don't want to sell anything. And Bobby's always, he's more, he's logical. I'm not.
You say when you sat down, I said, how long are you in for? And you said you're bouncing back and forth, but back up for the sales. So it sounds like you guys participate in a lot of the sales. And you bought a weanling, the yearlings up here. Do you run the gamut as far as the sales, Keeneland in the fall, and then do you go to some of the 2-year-old sales?
Yeah, I've been going to the 2-year-old sales for a long time, and I own like 7 horses. Bobby's partners with me on Crudo, and he bought into a filly that I owned already that we bought at a 2-year-old sale named Sherbini, who is Grade 1 stakes placed.
Taxi, right?
Yeah, Mark had her, and she was 3rd in the spinaway. So Bobby ended up buying into her, and then I have a couple mares and 2-year-olds. So I have 2 2-year-olds this year, a couple 3-year-olds. I have one running, I think tomorrow in Canada with Mark, and one out in Ellis named Sing Sing, who I think has a really good shot out at Ellis on the turf.
So you're a New Jersey guy. You run some in New York, but you just with different trainers. You're running a various track wherever.
Yeah, I mean,
it makes sense.
Usually the trainers call the shots, right? And I understand that. Again, working on the backside, I understand. These guys know the horses better, and that's why I sell real estate in New York City. Bobby's a chef. We let them take control, but we really think that. You got to give them the latitude. But right now, have horses with Mark and Crudos with Todd.
How long did you train for? You said you had the allergies. How long were you able to do it?
I did it for about 1.5 years. I was at Penn National back in the day with a couple of my godfathers, really cheap horses, Maiden 5. First horse I ever ran was Maiden 5,000 and won, so it was fun.
The first horse you ran won?
Yeah, Dance with David was the horse's name. And Linda's dad, that's where I met the Rices. Clyde and Linda, they had a private barn there, and I was in a private barn at Penn National right by the Gap. And so Clyde actually showed up at the races, and he, from a mentorship standpoint, and the whole Rice family, candidly, it was invaluable to me. And so I learned a lot, and Linda and I were great friends. We've had horses together. When Linda first started training, I think her first one might have been Jack, which I was there that night at Garden State. But yeah, so we've been really good friends, and we had a horse here. We broke a track record up here, broke Red Ransom's track record, 1,000 years. At that 1993, to make August 18th, 1993, because I remember that date because it was also my biggest real estate transaction at the time. And I was, I was a hot shot, flew up for the race and won the race, left. And so we've been pretty good. We had some success.
Well, speaking of the past, I wanted to pull one up because just, again, looking at bio information and whatnot, have the stretch run of the Schenectady going back to September of 2000. It's going to be a Yankee tradition here. And I brought it up because Jerry Bailey was on board. That has to be a fun memory.
It was a great memory. We bought this horse as a yearling to Pinhook, a Dehair filly. And we bought her to Pinhook. She came up with a shin. We gave her time. We brought her back. And Jerry rode her in the first 3 races, won all 3. I remember screaming so loud in this race. That horse got That You Miss Blue that we ended up beating. Ended up winning a graded stake. But it was a ton of fun. And I retired her. She was going to be my franchise broodmare. 7 years later, I got a foal out of her, and I was too dumb and stubborn to do anything else. So that didn't work out in my breeding career, but she was by far my favorite horse that I had back then.
Yeah.
She was great. And when she broke her maiden, actually, it was the day after the Yankees swept the World Series against San Diego. And Durkin, as Durkin could only do, Yankee tradition sweeps to the lead by 4. And she ended up breaking her maiden by 10, I think, that day. So,
excellent.
Yeah, so Yankees has a soft spot in my heart.
And I got to ask you before I let you go, you go back in Jerry Bailey days and whatnot. And you've obviously been involved in the game for a while. Give us some Saratoga memories. When did you first come up to Saratoga?
Geez, I was super young. I was 7 years old. My family used to go to Great Lake George on vacation, and I wanted to go to the track with the boys, and didn't know the reason that we went there was so the women, quote unquote, could do stuff in Lake George, and the degenerates could go down to Saratoga. I hate using the word degenerates all the time, but you understand. And
absolutely.
Yeah. So I was a huge fan. I remember Secretariat running and all those, and I was a big Affirmed fan. And I remember coming up, I know the Jim Dandy's on Saturday, and he ran, I believe, against Sensitive Prince.
Yeah.
And Sensitive Prince opened up by 20 going down the backstretch. And I was almost in tears thinking that this horse is going to, and he won.
Yeah.
So, I've been coming up here forever and just loving it every time. I brought my daughter up here. I showed Johnny, actually, Velasquez, a photo of my daughter who was like 7 at the time at Belmont. And Johnny was riding a horse for me. And I showed him the photo. And now she's grown up and married. And the funny part was Johnny was like, "You're making me feel old." I'm like, "No, just she grew up. Nobody else did." So.
And he's amazing. To still be riding at the level he's riding at, and he is on Crudo. That's going to be fun too. To have Pletcher and Velasquez teamed up again on your horse and getting into the winner's circle.
No,
that's the classic Saratoga duo.
Exactly. I mean, look, you want to win. You want to show well. But to participate up here is just it's a big thing, and to try to win a race. I mean, if some of the earlier 2-year-olds we had, we thought it was easy. I mean, I think I was like 4 for 5 the 2-year-olds breaking their maidens up here, track records, this, that, and it's not that easy.
Easy game, and then
exactly
it humbles you sooner rather than later.
Correct.
But you have a good one today, Crudo, and so we're going to be rooting for you.
Thank
really
you so
appreciate
much.
you stopping by. I'm happy Vic got us connected so you can come by this morning.
Absolute
fun
pleasure.
Conversation, but we wish you a lot of good luck today in the curling and going forward.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right.
Take
Jimmy
care.
Valentine. We'll take a break. When we come back, he's in the green room. Dave Grening from the Racing Forum. A little preview and review coming up. Stay tuned.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, To reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
For centuries, the bond between horse and human has been forged in trust and hands-on care. Thoroughbred Racing is combining that tradition with cutting-edge technology to raise our standards even higher. New investments in wearable biometrics, advanced imaging, and AI help optimize our safety programs.
That opening quarter mile was a quick one.
Every day, a commitment to improving their care. So win or lose, it's safety that runs first. To learn more, visit safetyrunsfirst.com.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. As promised before the break, joined now in the rotation this week for our visit from the Daily Racing Forum. It's Dave Grening. Dave, good morning.
Seth, how are you?
Very good. Another nice day. I took off right after TV on Sunday, spent a couple days on the beach in Maine,
Nice.
which I hadn't done in a while. But as I was driving up, I had the races going on my phone, so I was still plugged in. And I guess it was a pretty good storm here Wednesday or Sunday afternoon. After I ran into two on the turnpike, certainly. Yesterday and today have been gorgeous, though, but there was a little rain.
It came right in the middle of the card there and made for a little bit of a sloppy mess for the stake. I don't even remember what the stake was.
Grass races stayed on, though, right?
Yeah, the grass races did stay on. It was the honorable miss that Helena's Forte won at a big price. Kind of the same thing last year. I don't remember what the track was listed as fast. I had to go back and look at the video, but the IRAD who wrote her last year was saying it was kind of the same type of track. It didn't signify sealed in the PPs, but it was an off the turf race last year, and she won that one. And then she came up here. It was funny. There was a day early, like 10 days earlier in the morning, we had a storm come in, and Phil Bauer worked that filly on a sloppy track. And it was like almost the same thing. The storm came, made a fast track wet in the morning, and then the same thing happened. It worked out.
I read your recap of the stake where you mentioned that's kind of quirky that he elected to still go for the workout.
Yeah, he just said, "Look, we weren't going to do anything super fast. I had IRAD. I had it was a regular schedule to work, so we just went ahead and did it, and it worked out perfectly for him."
Also wanted to go back and take a look at Saturday's feature, Coaching Club American Oaks, because there are a couple of things about this. First, now we, question Immersive a little bit after the comeback and the two performances in the comeback. But with the scratch of Lacara, it kind of fell into Scottish Lassie's lap a little bit. So you can make that what you will as far as that and relating to Immersive. But man, this was some performance.
You know what? I don't know what to make of this performance, to be honest with you. It was, looks visually, it looks impressive. Yeah. She's going to win. The one of the horses a pole behind, and she won last year's Frizette by 9. She won this race by 15 3/4. But as you said, Immersive didn't show up. Immersive's falling into a pattern of some of the recent 2-year-old filly champions who just didn't do anything at 3. And it was kind of surprising that she didn't, she didn't have to win. First race back, she got beat. Looked like a decent effort. Got boxed in. Thought she would move forward off of it. She didn't. Scottish Lassie was primed for a good effort. I don't know if she was primed to win by 15 and change, but it's almost a little bit of an optical illusion. But look, she's a 2-time Grade 1 winner. I don't knock 2-time Grade 1 winners. It's just I don't want to jump to I'm not putting her at the head of the division.
I mean, it clearly would have been a different scenario if Lacara was in there.
Right. And the good news for Lacara is that the good news, bad news, I guess, is that that quarantine is now gone. It's lifted. It wasn't strangles for a horse in that barn. So you could look back at it and say, well, then why did they scratch me? It was really a precautionary thing. Lacara is supposed to jump back on the work tab tomorrow and train up to the Alabama. I don't know if Scottish Lassie shows up in the Alabama, but I think it'll be a much different race. Good Cheer's supposed to show up that day as well. Nitrogen.
the Alabama will be a much more difficult race than the Coaching Club Oaks. We'll see if Scottish Lashley comes back in there or waits for the Cotillion, which is in a grade 1 about a month later. And she has done well with time. The one thing this filly has done really well with is time, and they've done a really good job with her. She had some issues trying to get on the Oaks Trail. They backed off of her, and they've been rewarded.
You mentioned that going into Alabama. I thought, I forgot about the Cotillion that comes up as well. You mentioned the quarantine. When I read your note that they had lifted it, that was essentially early, right? As compared, what I'm trying to get at is if the horse tested positive, it would have continued, right? But testing negative, 3 times, they ended it. There was no reason for it.
Right. They got the horse that was in question out, in a different facility off the grounds on Saturday morning, and then they tested her several times, and she tested negative for strangles each time. So they decided there's no reason to keep the quarantine on. So Lacara and others in that barn missed some training days, but they're back now, and she's galloped the last couple mornings, and I believe she's going to breeze tomorrow.
Yeah, that's good news. The whole last couple of months they've been in and out up here, and a couple other tracks.
Belmont as well.
Yeah. Also, I wanted some thoughts on Bookham Dano. Just he's been a fun horse and continues that. The ownership group and everything, a lot of fun there, and he put in a good performance on Saturday.
He's so consistent, and so he doesn't throw in a clunker, and he was really good the other day. I know for Derek Ryan, that Saudi Derby, he can never get that one back, and I know it sticks in his craw a little bit. But,
forever young.
Forever young beating you. But in a race that it looked like he was home free.
Yeah.
And, he is nominated to the Breeders' Cup. It's sort of been a little bit of a misinformation there about what that situation was. But I was speaking with Jim Gluckson from the Breeders' Cup the other day, and he mentioned that the horse is nominated. So it's just a matter of whether they decide to go that way.
Yeah.
And I guess the Forgo would be the next logical spot for him. And he's run very well up here. He's run well everywhere. He's just a kind of cool horse, and he's a gelding. He's one of those horses you'll want to root for because you could see him for a few more years. Should see him for a few
Paco
years.
Lopez, a nice day. He skips the big day down there, but comes up and has a big day up here.
Has a big day himself, right? Another cool mare that the Trombetta filly who won
Futures
now.
Yeah.
She also is one that never fires a bad race. When she gets beat a length or less, and she's put together a nice little record. She's batting over 500 too. So 2 cool fillies. If you're going to give up a day like that at Monmouth Park, you make the most of it. He rode 2 of his better horses, and he made the most of it.
And speaking of the big day down there, any thoughts on journalism?
He's a cool horse. He gutted that one out. It didn't look like he loved the racetrack. I was kind of kidding with some people. It's sort of like at the 8th pole, I thought every jock agent in the planet had Michael McCarthy's number ready to dial, say, "Hey, we're open next time." The horse got there. He's just a really cool horse. I hope we get to see him here. I don't think we'll get to see him here, but it was a good win on a track that I just didn't think he really liked. You see, even Michael mentioned it in the post-race interview. You can see going into the first turn, Rispoli takes the whip out just to sort of, get a little closer. He didn't hit him with it. He just kind of nudged him with it and just say, "Hey, let's get a little closer if we can." And those horses that know where the finish line is and know how to get there, they're kind of cool to watch.
He knows where it is. He works for it every time, and the wins look good when they happen because about mid-stretch you're thinking, but look good again. And we'll keep our fingers crossed, but it's looking like maybe, which I can understand if he's stuck out there for the Pacific Classic.
He'd like to get a home game. He's been on the road after Santa Anita Derby. He's been on the road for all his trips. So if he wants to run the Pacific Classic, I'm not going to.
And if you're chasing the Eclipse, we were talking about the handicapping show, you win the Pacific Classic against Older, and then you win the Breeders' Cup Classic. You're in a good spot no matter what Sovereign. I said as an Eclipse voter for me, if all of that happened to be tough, if Sovereignty, obviously has to get through Saturday and then the Travers, but Derby, Belmont, Travers, and that. But again,
winning 2/3 of the Triple Crown is hard to beat, no matter what you do. So I don't know of any horse that won 2/3 of the Triple Crown that wasn't 3-year-old champion. I'm not saying it can't happen. I know there's some different circumstances here because some people might hold it against the team there that they didn't run in the Preakness, whatever. If he knocks out the Travers and Jim Dandy and Travers, and it's going to be hard to deny.
All right, let's take a little look. That was a little review. Let's do a little preview, and we'll kick things off with this afternoon's Curlin. We just had Jimmy Valentine, entertaining interview from Jimmy Crudo in here. They bought this horse. I didn't realize until they started talking, but you look up at the top of the page, bought this horse as a weanling and won the Sir Barton. Again, the 4th start of the career going in the Belmont. That was a little bit of an ass. So he'll be interesting today. Chancellor McPatrick, I'm curious if we're going to get a rebound from Chancellor McPatrick after really the great season up here last year. Hitness started the career with a win, and I thought Kenny McPeak has one, and then kind of didn't live up to that, but now is rounding back in form. But I pulled up a replay. I had to make this one my top pick, and I think everybody's going to jump on board. Strategic Focus. We're going to watch the last race. Wound up getting DQ'd there, but with the 102 buyer, came under the finish line first. I tilted in that direction. What did you see in the Curlin today?
Yeah, look, this has been viewed as, if not the best 3-year-old for Chad, then right up there. I thought this was a bad DQ. Yes, he cuts over, but he's well clear of the stablemate Malarchuk. Now Malarchuk does come back and make a little bit of a race. Look, this is Strategic Focus's 2nd career race, so he's not going to necessarily do everything right, but he reminds me a little bit of Unmatched Wisdom last year for Chad Brown, who won this race. I think that was his 5th victory in this race last year when Unmatched Wisdom won it. He won his first 2 starts. Granted, this horse officially didn't win his 2nd start, but it was a little bit of a different field. I think this field might be a touch stronger. The horse that interests me if I was going to try and beat Strategic Focus is So Sandy out in post 7 there. By the way, Uncaged is going to scratch out of this race. He's entered tomorrow in the Amsterdam. I'm not saying he's running in the Amsterdam. I'm just saying he's scratching today. But So Sandy has sort of put things together. And I talked to Cherie DeVoe, his trainer, about this horse earlier in the week, and she said he's always been a gorgeous horse who just didn't put it together mentally, and he finally has. And so you look back and he's gotten well beat earlier in his career. They even tried grass up with him in fairgrounds, and that didn't work. And since they got him back up from there, he wins at Indiana, and then he wins a nice allowance race. So this horse is trending in the right direction. And if there's a horse that I think could maybe upset Strategic Focus, it might be this one today.
And I'll mention, for folks and up here, I think a lot of people really concentrate on horse racing during Saratoga, maybe don't follow as closely the rest of the year. You see a horse start at Indiana that's been training at Church. A lot of the Kentucky folks will go over to Horseshoe India. That's not like the B string over there necessarily. It's convenient, I think, if you're at Church.
Right, and it's a timing thing. It was a 2-turn maiden race, and they wanted to run this horse 2 turns, and maybe maybe they were looking for an easier spot coming off some of the bad races that he had in the wintertime. So it was a confidence builder, which obviously paid off because he comes back to Churchill and wins the 1X. So I think this is an interesting horse if there's one that's going to be strategic.
What do you make of Chancellor McPatrick?
I think this is one of those 2 horses that was really good at 2 and did not get any better at 3. He's a 1-turn horse. Chad had the options of either this race or the Amsterdam tomorrow, and he said the Amsterdam is just a little too short for him. Now, granted, you'll say, well, what is he talking about? The horse won at 6.5 last year. Well, that was a maiden race. This Amsterdam's a race against seasoned sprinters, and he doesn't have a great option. This would have been the perfect horse for him to run the Dwyer, but we got rid of the Dwyer. Now we got rid of the Dwyer, so the options were 6.5 or a 1 1/8. He's going to give the horse another shot around 2 turns. I think no matter if he gets a good performance from him, no matter what, he's going to probably cut him back. If in a race like the Jerkins at 7/8, if he's worthy of going in there. If he runs a bad 3rd or 4th, then I don't know what you do.
I'm really interested to see. I had the chance to meet Sean Flanagan last year downtown on closing night, where he was having a big after the win in the Hopeful and fun. And I was saying, hopefully see it back up here with Chancellor next summer, and here he is. But I'm curious to see what we get this afternoon. All right, let's take a look at tomorrow and the Amsterdam. I pulled up a replay of Macho Music for Rohan Creighton. We're going back to the Pate Mile a couple of starts back for a nice win. Followed that up, kind of tossed in a clunker in the Woody Stevens, and there were a couple in here that did that. They're going to have to rebound off the Woody Stevens. Gunmetal was one of those for Brad Cox. Todd Pletcher has Gate to Wire, another one coming out of a off the board finish in the Woody Stevens, but I think can be a player. Lee Einseidler taking a shot with T-Craft in here. I think it's a fun field, but as I say, a lot of them are coming off poor performances in the Woody, but Macho Music with this win in the Pate Mile looks a little bit interesting. What did you see in the Amsterdam?
Yeah, look, if Macho Music, if he breaks sharp from the rail, he could be long gone. I think he's got the most speed of anyone in this field. I know Garamond, right in post 2, showed speed, 2 back, going a mile, 1 turn mile. That was a 3-horse field. There was a horse he had to worry about, but Baffert had chipped in Cornucopian, who he kind of put away, and it looks like Bob has put Cornucopian away too. We haven't seen him since. So I just think Macho Music looks to rebound off of a race that he just, I know he handled. Look, the sloppy tracks are different everywhere. We've seen this a million different times. We saw it in the LaCara race. LaCara got trounced by a good cheer right in the Kentucky Oaks, and then comes back and beats her in the Acorn. So sloppy tracks are different everywhere. Just because he handled the sloppy Churchill doesn't mean he was going to handle it at Saratoga. I think he bounces back, and really the break is the key for him. If he breaks sharp, I think he'll be tough. T-Craft will come in a little bit underrated. I think this horse is a little bit better. Put it together during the wintertime at Aqueduct. Numbers incrementally got better, not hugely better, but it was 5th, only beaten 4 lengths at 36-1 on the slop of the Woody Stevens. I think back on a dry track against horses, in this ilk, I think he fits, and I do think Garamond has the potential to be okay as well. I don't know if Uncaged will run here. I know he's scratching today, but I don't necessarily know that he runs back. And I don't know what to do with Gunmetal. His race at the Churchill at Keeneland was really, really good. And then the Woody, maybe it's just a wet track, and I think the outside draw might be a plus for him.
Also, third start, but back off a little bit of an early season layoff, although that's barely a layoff these days, but that's something you can kind of look at. All right, let's take a look at a couple on Saturday. The Lake George Grade 3 event, $175,000, mile and a 16th. I pulled up a replay of the Mark Casse runner, Classic Q, going back to July 4th weekend up here, wins the Wild Applause. I thought that had Classic Q set up nicely. Pretty lavish for Graham Motion. Interesting off a second-place finish in a Monmouth Stakes race last time, second down at Pimlico. 2 back. Chad has Lavender Disaster in here. Vicky Oliver is always interesting to me, regardless of where she runs, but shipping up here with Princess Attitude, I thought was intriguing. Play with Fire on the outside, another Chad runner. Interesting group in here. What did you see in the Lake George?
Well, first of all, I believe, according to my colleague Marcus Hirsch, Pretty Lavish is going to go to Woodbine for a race called the Ontario Colleen, so you could probably scratch her out of that spot tomorrow. Look, it's hard to go against Mark Casse in a 3-year-old filly turf stake. He's won 7 of them this year with 3 different fillies. Nitrogen's won 4. Vixen's won twice, and then Classic Q, who's not a bad filly in her own right, and she was really good in the Wild Applause. She did get the run of the race, but she set real fractions that day, and I kind of view her as maybe the main speed here as well. Now it is a 16th of a mile further, so she's going to have to negotiate that. And then she's going to have to hold off Play with Fire, who is coming at her in the Wild Applause and might benefit from the extra 16th of a mile. So I kind of think it's going to be either a replay of the Wild Applause or maybe Play with Fire can turn the tables on her. I've been a little disappointed with Lavender Disaster. Maybe she needed that spot. I thought her allowance one was okay at Aqueduct. The Miss Grillo is a throwout, but maybe it was listed as firm last time, but it looked like we had a little bit of rain in July. So I'm thinking maybe with a firmer turf course, maybe that'll move Lavender Disaster up a little bit.
IRAD sticks on board. Have you been as surprised as I have with IRAD winning at some price? I mean, somebody put out a list maybe after last Sunday, I think it was. So the first couple of weeks, he had a positive ROI and like a pretty good positive ROI.
Well, it seems like the money that used to go on IRAD is now going to Pratt. And Pratt's being overbet now. And Pratt went on an 0 for 24 scheme here until he won 2 yesterday. So even though he won a few at Monmouth on Saturday, he won the first 3 races of the meet. Then I think he went like 3 for 48 after that. So he a lot of money went his way and went up in flames. So maybe he got back on those. So somebody else that is winning races at better prices, and it happens to be IRAD.
No, it was notable though, as I say, the little chart I looked at. You mentioned Mark Casse and the 3-year-old fillies. Any updates? I don't know whether he has indicated one way or the other since, but he came out of the near defeat the other day and said still heading for the Alabama with Nitrogen.
Yeah, I think he's going to run LaCara and Nitrogen in the Alabama. That's the plan.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at the Jim Dandy, and I pulled up a replay of the Belmont, and I mean, as a handicap, people will take shots against, and if a public handicapper says somebody else is going to win because of this and this and this and this and this happens, I'll give them some credit. Otherwise, you're taking a stab. It's just hard to see Sovereignty getting beaten tomorrow. But what do you think?
I agree. I think he's just I think he's the superior 3-year-old in the division. I think he's proven that I think what's interesting about this horse, when you look at his PPs, is he was 16th in the Kentucky Derby in first call. He was like 9 lengths out of it. He was second, 1 length out of it in the Belmont. I know the half-mile fraction was a second slower. I get it. But the fact that he could show that versatility, then Junior still took him back, and he's inside of journalism. He's getting, I don't say boxed in, because Umberto made his move when he did, and it gave Alvarado time to go after him. But I don't have any knock. You know what the biggest knock is on Sovereignty is he didn't run in the Preakness. That's people hold that against him for whatever reason. Get over it. He didn't run in the Preakness. He's going to run in these races now moving forward, and he's the best 3-year-old that we have. So enjoy it, and enjoy the fact that he's probably going to run twice here. The makeup of this race looks like Moplex is going to be, the controlling speed. Don't be surprised if Baeza's a little closer than he typically has been. He showed that back with Barrios, who's back on board, and he's been training. John Sheriff has been training him a little bit with purpose. You see these bullet works, and I think they've been trying to get him engaged a little bit. And Sovereignty can play it however he wants. I think he's versatile enough where he can, sit back if they want to go too fast, or he can be right there if they won't, and he's going to keep on going. Belmont sat outside his barn on the day after the Belmont and said, the Travers is the goal, but he'll probably be ready to do something in 5 or 6 weeks. And here we are. He's ready to do something. He's, despite the weather hiccups that we had earlier on, he hasn't missed any of his training. The one wet track that he kind of encountered was during a workout. He was working out as it was raining. I don't have any holes in him. And this group is going to have to step up to beat him. Maybe they can, but right now it's hard to see it.
Yeah, Sandman's been fun and kind of interesting. Moplex winning the Ohio Derby for Jeremiah in Plan B. Baeza is, you would think if people were ranking, he'd be sitting third in the 3-year-olds.
Look, he was third. He was third in the Derby, and he was third in the Belmont. But he's also still eligible for one other then. So he's as good as much hype as he's gotten. He still's only won the one race.
Yeah, and I will say people may rank him third, but I think top 2 are clearly.
Yes, he's third. It's third, and the gap third and fourth is probably pretty close. Sandman's getting blinkers on. I don't know if that's going to help him or not. If it gets him into the race a little bit more, and I'm not saying he's going to be close to the lead, but it maybe saves off a couple of lengths early. What will it do to his late kick? Does it take out a little bit of his late run if he's using himself a little bit early? I don't know. Hill Roads is a nice horse who, he's gotten into a racing and training pattern now that maybe was interrupted earlier in the year when he was trying to get to the Derby. He ran in the Tampa Bay Derby. It wasn't a bad effort. Owen Almighty was really good that day, and he was coming off the bench. Then he was trying to get to the Wood, and he got sick, and then he ran in the Peter Pan. He won that, and now he's in a bit of a program now, and he was third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, off of no dirt racing before. So there is some talent there. I know people like compare the Haskell and the Belmont field and the Jim Dandy fields. I think this is a legitimate field. The Haskell had 8. 3 of them were 50-1 shots. So 5 of them were legit. We have 5 legit horses, no 50-1 shots.
Yeah, no, I agree. Before I let you go, I always like to have you and Mike, when he's in here, Mike Welch, just tout the workout report a little bit, because again, it's a great product from Daily Racing Form that up here with the 2-year-old races in particular, other races also, but the 2-year-old races, when you can get a little insight into how the horses worked and who they might have worked with. And I know you participate in checking out the workouts as well.
Yeah, I think what's key to that is you get a lot of insight into how the work was done instead of just looking at the time. We had a work this morning that was fast work, but it was done the wrong way. It was 22 and change early, and it was 25 and change late, and you had to look at, it'll be 48, whatever. Oh, you worked 48. Well, when you work 22 and change and 25 and change, that's not really a good work. So that's one of the things the workout report does, is gives you a little bit more, how the work was done. And we also try when we can, I know I do anyway, put in the workmates and put a little thing in parentheses on what they've done too.
Yeah, because you have a 2-year-old working out with kind of a veteran 4-year-old or 3-year-old.
Right. Like tomorrow, like in this, now look, they're both Grade 1 winners and not going to do it off that, but Sovereignty's been working with Arthur's Ride. So, that's, but they're both established. So Arthur's Ride is back in the entries on Saturday against the field that he's supposed to beat. I was trying to look at it this morning and say, well, who can I beat him with? Because I haven't been all that impressed with Arthur's Ride.
Okay.
But I just can't see it. I mean, just on class alone, he's supposed to win that race.
Sometimes I wind up in that situation every once in a while myself, where you look and you think, it
Yes,
seems vulnerable. But in here today, I don't see who's going to jump up.
It's all about who you're in with, right? Like, if I'm playing golf with, guys who really can't play golf, then I'll look good. If I'm playing golf with Scotty Scheffler, I'm going to look pretty bad.
Dave, always appreciate the visit. And we'll, again, see you in a couple of weeks back in the rotation. But as always, I tell people picking up the Racing Form around town, which you can find plenty of places during the season, or check out drf.com. But again, keep in mind the workout reports as well. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
We'll take a break. When we come back, Wesley Cupp is in the room. New Easy Bet out in the western portion of our area. We'll talk about that. If you're out there stopping by, it's at a golf course. Speaking of golfing, and Wesley actually has a little highlight to maybe talk about as well. All of that right after this. It's been referred to as possibly the best equine-themed gift shop on the planet. Impressions of Saratoga. Impressions of Saratoga, celebrating the Saratoga and equestrian lifestyles. It's your number one choice for Saratoga souvenirs, apparel, and gift shopping. We have gifts for the entire family, and we're pet-friendly too. Visit us online at impressionssaratoga.com or come on down. Impressions of Saratoga, 368 Broadway, downtown Saratoga.
Why just watch the races when you can be in the middle of the action? For nearly 20 years, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program has made thoroughbred ownership affordable for the everyday fan. Ownerships of 5 and 10% are now available on a nice selection of horses. As a partial owner with Bonaventure Stables, you'll enjoy all the benefits afforded every owner. Visit with your horse in the private stable area. Greet the trainers and jockeys in the paddock. And when your horse wins, savor the moment in the winner's circle at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, or wherever you bring home the prize. Based in historic Saratoga Springs, Bonaventure Stables has been training winners and creating memories since 2005. Learn more, see available horses, and meet our team at bonaventurestables.com.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. As promised before the break, we are joined now by Lauren and Wesley Cupp, proprietors, is that the right word, of the Rome Country Club?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, very good. And that's our newest Easy Bet location. So for folks who are kind of out in the western portion of our area, the Capital OTB area, they can stop out there. And I guess, I'm assuming this is your big season, summertime.
It is. We're rocking and rolling right now. So it's awesome that we were able to make it up to the track. And we're very excited to offer OTB now at Rome Country Club in Rome, New York.
Yeah, very good. And Wesley, how long have you had the Easy Bet?
A couple of weeks. We just got it installed. We've been, begging to get it in all year because all my members all have gambling interests. If you play golf, you have to play the horses too, right?
I was
it goes hand in hand.
19th hole, you're in there after a round of golf. What's better than sitting playing the races?
So as soon as I tease it to the members that, we're trying to get the OTB, you got to get that in there. Perfect. So we just got it in. We're rocking and rolling now, and here we go.
And Lauren, fill us in. I'm assuming, as typical at a country club, you can go out and play a little golf and grab a little food as well.
Absolutely. We do. We've got food. We've got drink. Now we've got gambling. We've got it all. All the vices. Yeah.
And give us a little. I think we have a graphic that show the hours, but give us a little insight. I'm assuming you can't golf all year long, but you guys, the country club, the clubhouse, open all year long with food.
If you can golf, we're open. So we're open most of the year, weather depending. But we've got members that golf in pretty crazy conditions. Yeah, no, so we try to keep it going.
I have seen that certainly. Wesley, describe the course a little bit.
It's way too hard. No, it's a great course. It's a Golf Digest 4-star course. We're open to the public. It's a Bob Cornish design, or at least most of it. And it's been in my family since 1976. So my father Bought it back then, and we've been rocking and rolling there since. Having a lot of good times.
Excellent. And you're both golfers, correct?
We are. Live and breathe it.
How often do you get out?
Most days. Yeah, most days. We play a crazy sport, which maybe you're going to talk about, called speed golf, which combines your time in minutes plus golf score. So the good thing is you're able to get it in 18 holes in about an hour and move on with your day.
Very
so we're
good.
able to get it in most days.
Wesley, you have any kind of leagues out there or anything for us?
We do. We've got leagues in the evening and a couple of morning leagues, which is great. And we do some outside events, but just in a lot of just regular play, open to the public play. It's a nice combination.
And you mentioned the speed golf, and I had a video. I don't think the guys down in the studio got it, unfortunately, but if folks type in your names or go to your Twitter accounts, folks can watch you. And I found it quite entertaining last night. You were both doing the speed golfing, and Lauren, I'll ask you first. How did you get into that?
Yeah, well, we just kind of stumbled upon it, to be honest, just on YouTube, and thought it would be fun to try. We also have 4 little ones at home, and not as much time as we used to play. So we kind of were like, oh, we already do this. We already play really quickly, but it's been awesome. It's really, I mean, we've been able to actually travel the world with speed golf and had some pretty cool opportunities come our way because of it.
So you guys are both award winners speed golfing?
Yeah, and I'm going to toot Lauren's horn for her. She's ranked #1 in the world for women's speed golf.
Okay. And you hit the pinnacle.
I had a cup of coffee as #1 in the world for 10 months 6 years ago. Now I'm getting a little old. Father Time's chasing me down the fairway.
Don't play down the cup of coffee because I'm #1 in the world at nothing. So.
But Lauren's amazing. She has just kind of dominated the sport in the women's bracket for a good, half a decade.
And as I say, watching it's pull it up because it's fun and funny. I notice you line up the shots. You take the time to line up the shot because you don't want to shank it off or something. Boom, and you line up. And then it's pick up the bag and sprint to the ball. And then again, line up the shot, pick up the bag, sprint to the ball. And I notice putting seems to be there isn't quite as much lining up. The putting is kind of quick. And so an average round for you on speed golf, how long does it take?
About 50 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Wes is a little faster.
Yeah, Wes, I saw I had it written down here. You shot a 79 in 49 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I like to improve on that. Maybe 69.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a really great round. My one I kind of broke through on a hit. Yeah, I had 69 in 46 minutes and kind of put me on the map. And I started.
So what is the scoring in speed golf?
Yeah.
It's a combination.
You add up your score plus your time in minutes. So if you shoot a 70 in 50 minutes, you just shot a 120. Okay. So a shot's equivalent to a minute. So you want to go as fast as you can, but at the same time, if you yak that 3-foot putt and miss it, you just gave away a full minute. Which is a lot. So you got to still play good golf, but just very quickly and efficiently.
What I noticed about you, one thing, you had your bag on your shoulder during the putts. So you weren't taking time to put the bag down or pick it up.
There's no time for that.
Too costly to leave it off the green, have to run
run
back.
And I'm assuming the same for both of you. It seemed like a limited number of clubs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you take 4 or 5 clubs.
So what do you take?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the course a little bit.
Okay.
The par 3s sometimes dictate what mid-iron you take, but generally it's a 3-wooder driver, a 7-iron, a sand wedge, a lob wedge, and a putter. Usually it's about 4 clubs. You want to take the fewest you can while still being able to present a good golf score.
Same thing for you?
Yes, I usually take one more. I probably take the most out of anybody in high-level speed golf. I usually take 5 clubs. I'm more the golfer, a little less of a runner. But driver, 6-9, wedge, putter is my kind of classic thing.
And I'll ask this of both of you because it seems like you can't play with somebody. You can't have a partner. And watching the videos of both of you doing it. So how does it set up on the course if you're having a competition? Is it they clear the course and it's just one at a time? And how do they time what if the person behind you is a real sprinter?
You have a lot of great questions.
I know, and that's exactly right. It's not very social, so it is.
Until you're done,
right? That's right. You can get to the bar a little faster, but yeah, it is. It's you play in a one-sum. Usually go off 4 or 5 minutes apart. You do have somebody during a tournament that follows you in a cart, of course, that
score, yeah.
helps keep your score.
Because you have no partners there. Yeah, somebody has to.
So each player is a scorer riding with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's half track meet, half golf tournament. So you see people warming up for a speed golf tournament. They're running around in the parking lot. It's ridiculous. And then, they have a big digital clock, and they'll count you down and announce you on the tee, and 10, 9, 8, and the first tee crowd's counting down with you. Then 1, you hit, you're gone, running down the fairway, and then they do it again 4 minutes later with the next player. And of course, the faster players go first.
And
so you don't run into each other.
Could get a little wild if you have somebody that's having a great round behind you. That's cruising.
Yeah.
And then it does get a little wild. They just yell for you, cover your head, and
it's full contact. Full contact.
That's very good. So you say the faster golfers go first. They decide that by your minutes.
It's what you've done before, your history.
What averages out the rounds and kind of thing. Oh, that's intriguing.
But if you go to watch one, it's crazy. Don't show up late, because that's a bad idea. Don't show up late to a speed golf tournament. But if you get to a vantage point, you can see all these crazy people running all over the course. It's just a wild thing to watch.
I don't want to watch. I want to do it.
Yeah, all right. You got you fired up. That's the next segment. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. And it looked like maybe you had one of these tournaments at your country club.
Yeah, we just hosted one a week ago. Today. We had Rob Hogan in, who is a huge following on social media. He's a great speed golfer. He came in from Ireland with that crazy beard and long hair and funny accents.
I saw that.
He's a great guy. He's the guy who yells at you and calls you Maruch if you guys are in the golf social media. But he's got close to 1 million followers, and he came in town, did a little speech, and we also did a kind of an impromptu speed golf tournament. But don't worry, I taught him a lesson and sent him back to Ireland, whimpering.
Very good.
And we've also hosted a U.S. Open in our area
nice.
at Rome Country Club and Yanadas's golf course just last year.
Mm-hmm. Nice. All right. Well, we appreciate you coming in. We wanted to tout the new Easy Bet location again out in the western portion. If folks are out there or headed out there, the Rome Country Club Easy Bet, but you can go out, play a little golf, grab a little food. There's the website address there. People can check that out as well. There are your hours, 7 days a week, so plenty of action, and we're happy to have you guys on board, and happy to hear that some of the folks are already firing up out there.
Absolutely.
Saratoga popular, obviously.
Of course, yes. Yeah. A lot of pilgrimages from Rome out here, but when you're not coming out, you bet at Rome Country Club.
Very good. You guys horse racing fans?
We are.
Very good.
Lauren's more of a standardbred expert.
But, I was. I started my career handicapping whatnot across the street at the harness track. For the first few years, I was big on harness, and then eventually got more tied in over here. But I still go over the harness side of things.
Excellent.
Vernon Downs, little Vernon Downs.
Absolutely,
absolutely, right down
Miracle
the road.
Mile.
Oh, is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very good. Because we've made some road trips for TV to Vernon Downs over the years, and fun, nice crew out there. So,
yes.
So folks are going out, little golf, little food, little harness action, bingo, bango. But again, we appreciate the visit and tell people to swing by Rome Country Club and make it happen. Make the magic happen this afternoon. Do some speed betting.
That's right.
That can get dangerous.
Yeah. We might be out after the first.
Yeah, you don't want speed handicapping. Speed betting works, but you don't want speed handicapping. Again, Lauren and Wesley Cupp, appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Rome Country Club, again, newest easy bet, one of the newest easy bets for Capital OTB. Keep that on your list if you're headed out in that direction. All right, Seth Merrow for Racing Across America on a gorgeous Thursday morning that is going to become a gorgeous Thursday afternoon. Thanks again to Lauren and Wesley. Thanks to Dave Grening. Jimmy Ventura, again, part owner with Bobby Flay of Crudo. We wish them a lot of good luck. Jimmy had some nice stories. That was fun. Hopefully you enjoyed the show this morning. Always appreciate the nice feedback we get on the front side in the afternoon as well. But we'll remind you that tomorrow we're back again. 9 o'clock, handicapper support. 10 o'clock, Racing Across America. We'll see you then. Haven't signed up for a Capital OTB account yet? Now's the time to take advantage of the sign-up bonus.
Open up a new account with $200 or more, bet $400 by the end of the month, and receive a bonus $200 into your account. Plus, you can take advantage of everything an OTB account has to offer. Wagering from any device, live streaming, racing info, past performances, online promotions, and more. Sign up today and take advantage of the new account bonus. Details at capitalotb.com.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops, my bad. Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
And they're off. Chevrolet, Mazda, and Ford right now at the DePaula Auto Group. Take off the savings you need on the vehicle that you want. New cars, trucks, SUVs, hybrids, and all electric. Delivered with DePaula savings. And the DePaula Auto Group has hundreds of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Remember, DePaula can service any make and model and has over 100 service bays. So buy DePaula. Think DePaula for all of your automotive needs. DePaula Auto Group. Chevrolet, Mazda, Ford, and pre-owned. DePaula.com.
Hey everybody, Steve Bick back with you for the Thursday DePaula Play of the Day here on Capital OTB. And we ended up third today. And boy, if you knew that all class was going to be bet or not bet and get off at 10-1, and that Princess Madison was going to be bet down to 5-2, you probably flip-flop it. But it's one of the things you can't control is how they get bet. Well, there's also something else you can't control, and that is having a horse that you're involved in, that our DT Stables campaigns, running on one of the days that I've got to make a play of the day. Landauer in the 10th today. He's going to be wearing the 11, but he is going to leave from the 9 hole. This is a 35-9-2, and there's probably 2 horses that are, more likely as winners. Hamilton's Way, the 9, and Kid Creasa, the 8. And that's fine. Landauer gets Dylan Davis, who I think will handle him more aggressively and leave him with less to do. It's a 1.125 miles, which he relishes. And I can't not pick him. He's 20-1 on the line. He'll be every bit of that, I think. He's going to come running. He's got the best late pace figures on time form. And his performance downstate at this level is a little bit dirtied up. And yet on Thorograph, it was a breakthrough new top for him, and it could augur for another forward move. If he can move up a couple of lengths, he can win. And I certainly think he can hit the board at a robust price. It's our own Landauer, the 11 in the 10th, the DePaula Play of the Day. Good luck, everybody. Talk to you Sunday.
And they're off. Chevrolet, Mazda, and Ford right now at the DePaula Auto Group. Take off the savings you need on the vehicle that you want. New cars, trucks, SUVs, hybrids, and all electric. Delivered with DePaula savings. And the DePaula Auto Group has hundreds of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Remember, DePaula can service any make and model and has over 100 service bays. So buy DePaula. Think DePaula for all of your automotive needs. DePaula Auto Group. Chevrolet, Mazda, Ford, and pre-owned. DePaula.com.